Hi everyone. I'm going to be giving you a bit of a run through of how you can use the Pinterest Trends tool to your advantage. This is a free tool, and if you're logged in with your business account, then you can get some much deeper insights into what your audience is engaging with. So if you are logged in as your brand, you will see this section at the top called Growing Trends Your Audience Loves. Your audience here is defined as anyone who's following you or anyone who is engaged with your pins in the last 90 days. The metric that we're shown here indicates how much more often our audience has been searching for these terms compared to the average Pinterest user in the last 90 days. And you can see kind of at an overall level, these vary quite wildly from fisherman core to spring decor to 2025 fashion. However, we are able to select from different interests here that give us a much more in-depth view as to what people are interested in. Moving down the page, we get to the actual trend report, which allows us to filter by different trend types, such as top monthly trends, yearly trends, growing trends, and seasonal trends. We can select a specific end date where it will give us around a month's worth of information. We can also select by different interests, different keywords, age, and gender demographics as well. And then what we see in this table on the right are different keywords or trends, a graph of their search volume over time, as well as a bit of a different indication of search volume, the weekly, monthly, and yearly change. So I've just changed our trend type here over to growing trends, where we can see, for example, Valentine's nails obviously has been having a weekly and monthly change of quite a high percentage as we go into a period that we would anticipate people searching for Valentine's terms. If I look at nails more broadly, however, we can see that we've had a slightly negative change week over week, month over month, but a slight increase over the year. So let's look at a more specific example if I take it towards a homeware brand. So I have selected my region here as Great Britain and Ireland, and I've adjusted my interest here specifically to home decor to get the things that are going to be the most relevant for what I'm looking for. And just at a glance, what I can take from this is that our audience in particular are very interested in gingham bedrooms and mixed pattern bedding. And that's something that at a base level, I could take forward to say, we should use this in our products and we could use it in our creatives. If I continue through some of the searches here, we've also got English cottage bedroom as well as vintage farmhouse bedroom. So for example, here I am a homeware and bedding brand, then I could use this as inspiration for the next photo shoot that I go on or my next range of products. So now if I scroll down to the trend tool, where I have also selected bedding as a keyword and home decor as interests, then this is where I can see the real change in these different keywords and trends over time. So what this helps us see is different increases in trends, but also can help us understand how trends are changing over the year period. So if I click into gingham bedding, then this shows me a graph of the interest over the time for the last year, where we can see that there's been a steady increase with some peaks along that period. What I can also do is now change that to the past 2 years, where I start to see throughout the period when we see some of those spikes. So if I have a look at some of those spikes, we've got August of 2023, we've got early September of 2024, which kind of shows that this gingham bedding is very much on people's minds as they're kind of in the summer heading into the autumn period. We've also got some peaks happening in the new year, which we saw at the start of 2024, as well as at the start of 2025. So it's obviously great to see that something that we do have in our product range is trending currently, but it can also help inform us that we should be running some kind of push that leads us into the August and September months. On this view as well, we can also see some related trends such as English cottage bedroom, comfy bed, cottage core. And if we select those, we can also see how they track against the gingham bedding trend that we were looking at before. Now, if I just remove that to go back to our gingham bedding only, I can also see some demographic information in terms of what age ranges and genders are most engaging with this trend. And if I scroll down here, we can also see some of the popular pins within this trend, which may help inspire us when it comes to making the creative or storyboarding for our shoots. Now, if I head back to this overall view and I just removed the keyword of bedding here, then we can see in terms of the home decor interest, what people are engaging with. And perhaps we're wondering what our next range could look like or what sort of color schemes we want to be using in our creative. Looking through the list that's come up, I can see the words kitschy, I can see bold color, navy blue, pink background, media wall. So these are all things that can help inform what we might want to take forward into our campaigns. And if I head over to growing trends, then these are different keywords and trends that we could try and hop onto the bandwagon of. So this could be in regards to the actual creative that we make, but also the terminology that we use in our creative or in the copy for our campaigns as well. These also can inform the keywords that we use in our campaign targeting. So if I wanted to head into Bedroom Inspirations Cozy, for example, which has a 90% monthly change and 1500% yearly change, we can see on the graph how the interest for that trend over time has changed. We can see some related trends, the demographics that are interested in it, as well as some inspiration for our creatives as well. Pinterest also provides some audience insights that can be really helpful to understand who your target audience is and what they're engaging with. So, for example, in this homeware brand specifically, obviously we see a huge amount of our audience being interested in home decor, design, DIY, and crafts, but they have a much lower indexing when it comes to electronics and vehicles, for example. We can then head down and see our age and gender distribution, as well as the location and device. This could be as simple as understanding that 76% of our audience use an iPhone, and we may take that forward into a meta campaign to run some kind of app download specifically to iPhone users. So I've given you a lot of information there and a lot of things to play with, but I hope you agree that this is a really helpful tool for understanding what users are looking at, what they are interested in, and how you could use that in your own activities.